Hi, I'm Gee Charman and welcome back to my Bridal Bite series on Brideas. Now, wedding favours are my favourite part of a wedding. They're like party bags for adults, and these little lemon shortbreads are a perfect gift for your guests. So first of all, I need to make my dough for the shortbread, and I've got some plain flour and some cubed salted butter. So it's about half flour to butter in weight. And then you just want to rub it in. Some recipes say have it ice cold, the butter, but to be honest with you, it's just too much hard work to get it rubbed in. So I have it sort of room temperature, slightly warmer than the fridge. So you just want to rub it in till you get fine breadcrumbs. Now there's a lot of butter going on in here, because really there isn't any other liquid. You can, if it doesn't come together, add a little dash of water. But they are buttery, and that's exactly what gives them the short texture that they've got. Now again, with your wedding, you've got loads of things to do, and you can make this for about 4 days beforehand and keep it in the fridge and cut it out. Or if you want to, and you're really well planned, you can make it 3 or 4 months in advance. If you roll it out into sort of a vaguely flat shape and freeze it on a baking tray wrapped in cling film, then it's all ready for you just to cut out and cook nearer the time. But the biscuits should last a few days once cooked. Right, so that butter is in, and now I'm getting clumps of dough rather than clumps of butter. And then I'm going to add my caster sugar. Just fold that in very lightly for the moment. And then one other flavour I'm going to add is a bit of lemon zest. You can add orange or anything you want, but lemon's quite nice and fresh, especially if you're having a summer wedding. So that goes in. You don't want any of the juice, just the oil from the zest. And then, as with everything, a little bit of vanilla extract. Now you need to bring it all to a dough. I don't think this is going to need any water added, but we'll see. You don't want to overwork it because it goes a bit tough when it's baked. So that's all come together. Get it out onto a board. And you just want to pick up the last little bits and give it one quick knead. And then flatten it down. And then you want to chill it. So if you flatten it a little bit, it's far quicker to chill down. And I'm going to wrap that in a bit of cling film. So this is chilled in the fridge for about 30 minutes, so it's firm but not rock solid. If you leave it in for a lot longer, or if you've frozen it, you don't want it to be totally solid, because when you roll it out, it'll just start to crack. So I'm just going to flour a work surface and pop the dough on, and then just lightly roll it out. Now the great thing about doing little shortbreads, if you want to, you can just use a circular cutter. You can use any shape that fits your wedding, and then we're going to ice them on top. And then I've got a baking tray with a little bit of baking parchment on so they don't stick. And I'm going to do little heart-shaped cutters. I'm going to cut a few of these out and pop them on the baking tray. Put a couple of these in a bag once they're iced, and they make a great little wedding favour. So they're great, they're done, and I'm going to pop them in the oven about 180 for about 8 to 10 minutes. So my little heart-shaped shortbread have come out of the oven, and they're cool now. I've just cooled them on a wire rack, and they're sort of lightly golden brown, and that's all you want. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ice them. Now I've got some pink icing here, and I've got a mixture of corn flour and icing sugar. This fondant icing, if you roll it in flour, just tastes horrible because the flour remains raw and doesn't get cooked. So corn flour and icing sugar is the best way. The sweetness from the icing sugar and the corn flour just helps it not stick. And you just want to roll this out nice and thinly. Now this stuff you can now get in all supermarkets, and it's easy to get hold of, easy to roll. I wouldn't recommend making your own. Life is just too short. And then what I've got to act as a bit of glue is a bit of icing sugar and water made up into a paste. And then what you want to do is use the same cutter to cut out the icing into heart shapes. We've got a few of those there. Just set this to one side. So this is the icing sugar and water mix. Add a little bit on top. You don't need to go all the way round, you don't need to be too accurate. It just acts like a little bit of glue. And then it's so simple. You just pop these on top. Now to give these out to your guests, I would put them on your table with your name tags when they sit down for their wedding breakfast or wedding meal. And I would put them in little cellophane bags tied up with a little ribbon or in a little box. And they would look great. 2 of those in a little bag. Perfect. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this recipe, why not give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Next week, I'll be cooking up a wedding cake alternative in the form of a meringue stack.